Nominations, please.
I'd like to nominate Nick Wells, Councillor.
Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No, thank you. I declare Councillor Wells elected chair of this subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Item 2 on the agenda, do members' interests? Do members have any interests that they wish to declare? Councillor Patel?
No.
No interest, thank you. Item 3 is introduction by the chair, myself. Welcome all to the meeting. I'm Councillor Nick Wells, chair of this licensing subcommittee hearing. Before we start, can I remind you of a few housekeeping arrangements? If you wish to speak, please can you indicate that you wish to do so? In the event of a fire alarm sounding during the meeting, please stand and follow the meeting administrator to the fire evacuation point outside the building. The meeting is being filmed on the Council's YouTube channel for live and subsequent broadcasts, and the whole of the meeting will be filmed except where there are confidential or exempt items. Thank you. In the room, we have with me here at Pathfinder House, we have Councillors Patel and Howell, members of the subcommittee, Elizabeth Lanahan, the Council's legal advisor on my right, and representatives of Democratic Services. I'll now ask officers from the licensing team to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Bishop. I'm the licensing manager.
William Della Refice, licensing officer. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no representatives from responsible authorities in the meeting this afternoon, so we'll move on to the applicant. So, representatives of the applicant, could I ask you to introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, my applicant. My name is Yusuf Cimigoglu.
I'm Dilek Alagos. I'm the agent who did the application.
Thank you very much. I would now ask interested parties to introduce themselves. Please state your name and who you are representing. Please indicate if you intend to address the subcommittee meeting this afternoon. Thank you. We start from the right to left. Thank you.
Apologies, this is the first time I've ever attended a meeting like this. I own a property and live there with my family that's adjacent to the premises. And I've just really come to witness, I don't know whether or not I'll have anything to say. Yeah, Lisa Oxborough.
Thank you. Mr. Ferguson?
So my name is Councillor Stephen Ferguson. I'm a District Councillor for St Neots, Priory Park and Little Paxton. I'm speaking today on behalf of Mr Stephen George of Hunsdon Street, who made a written representation but could not be here today and has asked me to speak on his behalf.
Thank you. Next gentleman, thank you. Thank you. And the gentleman on your right.
Hi, I'm Alex Walden. I'm a resident on Hampton District.
Thank you. And next gentleman.
Adam Bright, Operations Manager, East of England Ambulance Service. We have a station next door.
Thank you. And sorry, the lady in white, you're with the applicant. Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who I haven't covered for this afternoon session? Hopefully not. Thank you. So item 4 is the licensing subcommittee procedure. You will have received within the hearing papers that were circulated to you a copy of the licensing subcommittee procedure. The hearing will commence under this procedure. Any representations that have been made should be relevant to the 4 licensing objectives, which are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. As you will see, in the interest of fairness, the procedure provides for an equal amount of time for the applicant, responsible authorities, and interested parties to address the subcommittee. This is usually 20 minutes, which in this case of interested parties is shared between those in attendance. I do have discretion if I need it. Since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interested parties, that would suggest about 4 minutes each, if you could keep to that, please. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. Do any parties present have any questions of clarification at this stage relating to the procedure? Is everybody clear about how the procedure works? Yep. Okay, thank you. Moving on then to item 5, which is the hearing. I will now invite the licensing officer to present the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Huntingdonshire District Council, as the licensing authority, has received an application for a new premises license from Yusuf Simakoglu from the premises Yosef Kitchen, 66 Huntingdon Street, St Neots, PE 19 1DU. The application was received on the 14th of May 2024. As required under the Licensing Act 2003, notice of the application was advertised by blue notices displayed at or near the premises from the 15th of May 2024 and in the local newspaper on the 15th of May 2024. The newspaper notice was found to be printed incorrectly with the application date and end date of consultation incorrect. It was agreed that this would not invalidate the application. The 28-day consultation period ended on the 11th of June 2024. A copy of the application is attached as Appendix A, which is the application itself, and Appendix B, which is a copy of the plan. The premises license application is applying for the following activities: late night refreshment, indoors and outdoors, Monday to Thursday, 2300 hours to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 2300 hours to 0200 hours, and Sunday, 2300 hours to midnight. It's also applying for a supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises. That's Monday to Thursday, 10:30 to midnight. So that's 10:30 in the morning to midnight. Friday and Saturday, 10:30 in the morning to 0200 hours. And Sunday, 10:30 in the morning to midnight. The hours the premises are open to the public are Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. to midnight. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 0200 hours. And Sunday, 10 a.m. to midnight. Section M of the application form addresses the 4 licensing objectives. Any proposals made in this section are normally translated directly into enforceable conditions that will be attached to the premises license. Paragraphs 8.41 to 8.49 and Section 10 of the Home Office guidance issued under Section 182 refer to the operating schedule and the license conditions. As part of the consultation, the responsible authorities, as determined under the Licensing Act 2003, were consulted on the application. Their responses can be seen in summary at Appendix C. During the period for representation, a total of 32 valid representations were received from other persons. The representations and any subsequent correspondence are attached as Appendix D. During the period for representation, a total of 17 representations received from other persons were rejected as they were deemed either not relevant to the licensing objectives or were frivolous representations. During the period of representation, a total of 5 letters of support were received from other persons. A person who has submitted a relevant representation is entitled to address the licensing subcommittee at hearing and ask questions of any other party appearing at the hearing. Not all matters raised within the representation may be relevant matters for consideration under the Licensing Act 2003. In terms of mediation, there were additional conditions proposed by the licensing officer which were agreed with the applicant. These can be found in Appendix C. However, due to the overall volume of representations and the varying reasons for objection, mediation was not possible. The licensing authority must carry out its function under the Act with a view to promoting the licensing objectives. Each objective has equal importance, and the objectives are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. The subcommittee must also have regard to its statement of licensing policy and any statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, as well as the Human Rights Act 1988 and the Live Music Act 2012. The Council must also fulfil its obligations under Section 17 of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 to do all that it reasonably can to prevent crime and disorder in its district. In making a decision, the application must be determined on its individual merits, having regard to the representations and supporting documents included as part of the report, along with additional information considered relevant at the hearing today. As part of the decision process, the subcommittee is required to give its reasons for any decision arrived at. And where the licensing authority considers that action under its statutory powers is appropriate, it may take any of the following steps. It may grant the application as applied for, refuse the application, add additional conditions to the premises license, exclude any licensable activities applied for, or it may amend dates and times of licensable activities applied for. Any decision that is made by the subcommittee must be reasonable and proportionate, and it must promote the licensing objectives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, William. Do any members of the subcommittee have any questions for the licensing officer? Okay. Does the applicant or his representatives have any questions for the licensing officer? We have no responsible authority present today. Do any of the interested parties have any questions for the licensing officer? Just questions at this stage, please. Any questions? No. Thank you. I will now ask the applicant and his representatives to address the subcommittee for no more than 20 minutes and to call any witnesses if relevant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, we read all the representations. Some of them I remember, some of them not. There are so many letters. So I talked with my client and we decided, he is gonna serve to the local people. And they are mostly worried about the long hours. So we decided to remove late night refreshment. So he only wants to operate with different hours now. He wants to open at 11:30 a.m. in the morning and alcohol sales starting at 12 and closing time 10 p.m. and all alcohol sales finishing 30 minutes before the closing time. So we think this will help with the worries of local people. So there is no late night refreshment at the moment, and all alcohol will be served with food consumption only. And the capacity of the premises is just 12 people, 6 people inside, 6 people outside maximum. And alcohol will be served with food only. Is there any questions, especially they are still worried about, they can ask?
Thank you. Is there any other elements that you want to talk about in terms of your submission?
Sorry?
Are there any other elements that you want to talk about on your submission?
Actually, with the application, what we wrote as conditions, CCTV camera, incident logbook, and challenge 25, ID checks and controls, and 2 members of staff will be presented on shop floor from 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. And notices will be displayed at the entrance and exit from the premises. So I also read reports of ambulance department, and actually my client's premise has separate parking area, but they can be more careful if other people will park to their side. So they can also put additional warning signs for that. And it's not a big capacity restaurant. I don't think there are so many people will come in to buy just alcohol or food. So it's mainly a takeaway business. And so they will be serving to the community. That's why this is another reason I don't think there will be a huge amount of people coming to buy alcohol only, and it's not an off license. And also there is another business, local off license business near to his premises. How far is it?
200 meters. Or
200 meters.
300 like that.
300 meters. I don't know about their closing time, but there is already an off license, and this is totally a food business. The aim is not just selling alcohol, it's just providing alcohol with food consumption only. And I think the application promotes all the licensing objectives already. And for fire risk assessment, the shop is under construction at the moment. So once the construction is completed, he will also do fire risk assessment. I have read something from fire department. And he is also a resident in the same area, and they have a child, so they wouldn't want any street drinking problem to be happen or affecting the area. That's all I can say for the moment. Do you want anything to add? No?
You're right, I've said everything.
Okay, thank you for that.
And one more thing, sorry.
Sorry, another business for what?
He is running another business in the same area for 8 years.
For 8
and
years.
there is another premises license without any problem they have been running.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that submission. Do any members of the subcommittee have questions for the applicant? Councillor Patel.
Yes, I have. Oh, sorry. I notice, given the plan of the proposal, that anyone going to the toilet is going to have to pass through the kitchen and into the food preparation area to get to the toilet.
This is the plan on page 35 of the application, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Toilet is at the back side. And as I said, this is mostly a takeaway business, so just with 12 people capacity, so it's not a proper restaurant. Yeah, they still have a toilet, but this is the plan at the moment. Maybe in the future, yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is not the proper restaurant, just takeaway shop. We're not so the people come to behind for takeaway to go use the toilet. That one is with seat. One of the people sometimes when you come in waiting time, 3, 4, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just wait, sit down there, and then few people's. This just down there, not the 20 or 20 people, it's just the maximum 10 people inside seat. That one is, if you know more than 20, we don't need the public toilets for customer. I get the insurance, everything already anyway, when you finish the proper takeaway. But toilet is normally when you order 15 people, they use the restaurant style. I use the people to use my own toilets. Just to check the lights like that. But this is not the restaurant, just takeaway shop, packaging shop. Come and order it, picking up and go home that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please continue, Councillor.
So if it's a takeaway, why are you offering seating?
Takeaway shop, someone's if you see it in certain, it's lots of takeaway shops sit and the table is on the shops. One is the High Street, one is in the Nelson Road, and one is the other side shop is in about the four tables in there. And then people just sit down, and if you want to eat them, few 5 minutes, not like the restaurants, 1 hour, 2 hours, just sit down, relaxing, take times, and then picking up orders it goes. They sit down like that, nothing much.
So I understand that, but while they're sitting, waiting, you could serve them alcohol because they're having a takeaway meal. Is that correct?
Hold on a second. Not sit the alcohol service, just customers wanted to be picking up the down there. We tried to on and off, but we offered the not anymore on, just to pick up orders, not serve the alcohol in the service.
Forgive me, I might be being a bit stupid here, but no, it's fine. I understand you. But what I'm saying to you is, you're offering alcohol for food in a takeaway restaurant. but you're offering seating in that restaurant where people can sit and wait. So to get their takeaway food, you would be able to sell them alcohol.
Okay, he's a little bit confused about this. So first we decided people will come and sit and enjoy. So it's not a big capacity. So they will serve alcohol with food. And if they want to have it takeaway, so we applied on and off. So they can have it as takeaway as well. And if the toilet will be a problem at the moment, then we can just change it to takeaway only.
Sorry, Chair, may I ask a question of the officers? This application would appear to be changed quite, they're changing hours, and now they may change the plan for the toilet. And I'm not quite sure about the application in total, because they talk about, I'm concerned about the seating and the serving of alcohol for takeaway, but people are able to sit inside. Surely they would then be able to drink inside with their takeaway.
Hi, Councillor Butel. So in relation to the toilet, it wouldn't form part of sort of the licensing objectives and the plan. In terms of consumption on the premises, off the premises, and any conditions around that, the questions need to be asked by the applicant themselves, as they have volunteered conditions which do cover these topics. So it need to be a discussion as per their volunteered conditions, which are found in the operating schedule of Appendix A. I'm not sure of the overall pack number, but if you look at Appendix A, there are the volunteered conditions.
Thank you for that. Members, do you have any other different questions for the applicant? No. Okay. Do any officers have any questions for the applicant, please?
Yes,
Okay,
Councillor, if that's
Michelle.
okay. I think to make it clear to everybody here today, because obviously, excuse me, it appears you're trying to amend the application as to what you originally applied for. So I think, you know, to make it absolutely transparent to both the panel and interested parties, I think if you can set out exactly whether you're applying for on and off sales now, and the times, so we've got a clear indication of what that is, for obviously the panel to make a decision and the interested parties to put forward their concerns. So if you wouldn't mind just explaining that, if that's okay, Chair, through yourself.
Yes, please do. You wish to just briefly discuss, yeah, if you can make it as brief as possible, please, yes, just to establish this, yeah.
To make it clear as well with me. Thanks.
Chair, may I suggest a quick adjournment?
Yes, we adjourn the meeting while you have the opportunity to discuss, yeah. Okay, so we're adjourning the meeting now, and we'll resume once this discussion is complete. Thank you. this point, having had the opportunity to discuss, so please let us know the outcome of your deliberations. Okay.
So opening hours from 11:30 a.m. till closing time 10 p.m. Monday to Saturday. 9 p.m. closing time on Sunday. And alcohol sales from midday to 9 p.m. and off sales only, of the license, of the premises license. So seating area will be used just for as waiting area or food consumption only.
Okay. Thank you for those changes. So we were with the officers. I think any further questions from officers?
No, I'm happy.
Okay, so that leads us on to those who've made representations. This is just the questions. The opportunity will arise to make statements later on. So at this stage, any questions for the applicant from the interested parties, please? Mr. Ferguson.
So I'm just asking on this question of the only being off sales and the tables not being used for the consumption of alcohol on the premises, how would the applicants intend to police this? Because if a table's there, it would be very difficult to police, I would imagine, especially for a takeaway outlet rather than the restaurant.
So tables will be used for food consumption only, and premises license will be displayed. Of course, as a responsible license holder, my client needs to warn his customers if they will be willing to consume alcohol in his premises. So he will make sure alcohol is consumed outside of the premises.
Thank you. You happy with that response, Ms. Ferguson? Thank you. Lady on the right, thank you.
I think specifically about the seating, it's the outdoor seating that's mostly of concern, because once you've locked your doors at the end of the night and you've shut up shop and you've gone home, there will be people that hang about or even come and bring food and booze from other places and use that as a social area. That's a concern for us as residents, because then they can stay there until 3 a.m. and there's nothing that you can do about it because you've shut shop. There's nothing we can do about it. It's about that lingering people, because there's outdoor seating available. They'll take advantage of it. So why do you feel the need for there to be outdoor seating?
May I have a question to you? Are you happy if they can sit there till 10 p.m.?
How will you police that? If you're shutting up shop and going home at 10:30, say?
Seats will be taken inside, so they are not going to stay outside. Once the shop is closed, they will be taken inside.
So you're saying that this isn't bolted down seating? You're going to be able to take it in and out as you want?
When I visited the premises, there were no seating outside, and it was under construction, and I think he will be taking them inside, but I can make sure by asking it to my client.
Well, that then does give me another concern about the fact that this furniture is movable. That time of night, you're then going to have customers messing about with furniture that they can move.
But without a license, anyone can operate a business from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. After 11 p.m. is under license. So 10 p.m. is still applicable if it's just a food business.
Sorry, it's not about the hours now. It's about the implications of the fact that this is going to be a magnet to people into a residential area, and having that seating outside is going to cause people to still sit there whether your shop's open or not.
So the hours are shorter now, from 11:30 a.m. opening and closing time 10 p.m. and Sunday is 9 p.m. I don't think there will be people other than this time come in and sit in. They are just local people, and I don't think people will come. And there is, next door is ambulance, yeah?
Yeah.
So how would it be possible for other people to come and sit if there is no seating area, seats outside of the premises?
I'm not sure, perhaps the committee can understand what my question is better, and my concern about having seating outside, that if it's bolted down, it's safer, but it means that it's permanently there for people to use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If it's not bolted down and you can take it in, it still means that it's then a safety issue, because people that have had a few drinks, bit of banter outside, messing about with furniture, it's close to the road, all of that, so just from a safety perspective there. So I just don't think that outdoor seating is appropriate, whether it's bolted down, able to be moved inside or anything. I just don't think it's appropriate, because I can't see there any good way round either issue.
I think you have to bear in mind that when the premises is being managed by the management, then you have to expect that they're able to cope with outdoor seating, people using it. If there's an issue, they have to call the law enforcement authorities to deal with it if an issue arose. But I think there's a big difference between premises being empty, nobody there, and outdoor seating being there or not there, and it sounds as though it wouldn't be there, versus what's actually going on while the premises is being operated. I think we can move on to any other questions from interested parties, please. Gentleman on the left here, gentleman in the middle, thank you.
Hi, can I just check, because I got a little confused in amongst this. So I understand the new hours now, and no consumption of alcohol on the premises, so it'd just be taken away. Is that right? Because you talked about having two members in the plan, having 2 members of staff to police to make sure. But if you're not serving alcohol, it's just there to take away. Presumably just with food. I'm not sure how this works, so forgive me, but you said it's not an off license, and yet we're now talking about off the premises alcohol. Presumably that's just with a food order.
So first of all, from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., there might be 2 or more staff inside the premises. Even it's off license, it's with food consumption only. So there will be some amount of food they need to buy alcohol as takeaway. And it's still my client's responsibility. So there might be drunk people that come in. So even it's off license with food consumption only, so he still needs to have stuff inside, 2 people or more people.
Thank you for your answer. Other questions from other interested parties? Gentlemen?
Yes,
yeah.
I'm just next door to the premises, so I'm very worried about if it is serving alcohol, and people come to my garden and litter throw into my garden. Already be quite nuisance before the takeaway. Takeaway is no problem, but if it is serving the alcohol, all youngsters passing through, and they occupy my garage, and they all litters in my gardens, and plus 2 nosy all the time if it's alcohol serving in the late night. Already is one off license, just only 100 and 150 meters. They open until 9 until 10:30, 11 in the evenings, and one in the Crescent. They got one off license over there. So I want to be totally opposed the off license.
Yeah,
I'm very worried about I'm the next door.
Yeah, I appreciate your concerns. Yeah, I mean, as I say, the fact that there'll be no alcohol sales without food sales additionally is,
yeah, but
is
the
to a
people
level of
coming,
reassurance.
they always sit on my fence, and all the litters throw into my gardens.
Yeah, I understand.
If they
appreciate your
alcohol,
concerns,
yep. Just only 100 meters from the another off
this is
license.
clearly unsatisfactory, and unfortunately, this is a situation where it happens quite a bit. But yeah, I note your concerns. Any other different questions from other members of the interested parties? A gentleman to the left here. Yeah, thank you.
The only other thing my question would be, would you, I think these others have mentioned no problem with food sales, would you consider not selling alcohol at all as a compromise? That'd be my only other question. Given all the concerns raised, I've documented my concerns regarding operational ambulance station next door. We need unimpeded 24/7 access. Having potentially drunk people loitering around could impact that, plus the antisocial parking as well.
Thank you. Do you respond to that challenge?
Sorry, can you repeat your concerns again, please?
So my concerns are purely around the sale of alcohol. Just to confirm, no problem with food sales, that's fine. It's purely the sale of alcohol for consumption on or off the premises would be our biggest concern.
It's not on license. We just change it to off license with food consumption only. I understand your concerns. Maybe it's because of the space you have. You are scared. Maybe it will be blocked. And my client have separate parking area, and we reduce the hours. Even people will not buy in alcohol with their food from him. So there is off license. They might buy it from somewhere else. So this is just additional contribution to the business. Of course, he needs to be careful what he is doing with his license. And I don't think with reduced hours, it's gonna affect the local and, public safety.
I suppose to reduce this one to logical level, so to speak, when the previous business was operating in the premises, the Codfather, I believe that the Codfather did not have an alcohol license. It was a fish and chip shop. Presumably it made a good living as a fish and chip shop. So the question that perhaps the gentleman is alluding to is, why is it that when the previous business didn't require a alcohol license, that this new business now does require one? In other words, why do you feel the need to sell alcohol as well as a wider range of food which you're now proposing to sell?
I cannot say anything about previous business. I don't know, but mostly people, they want to serve alcohol, especially in summertime, and it's also additional contribution for the business. But we can also ask this question, my client.
Yeah, I know that before they're just only fish and chips, but now I try to alcohol, not like the trouble on the round here, because I've done already some business in Sydney, same position, sell food and alcohol. And then I think in the ambulance service department say to, if your people block the space down there, understood, but I know the more be careful, but no one knows in UK, everyone knows, no one is, if important fire, police station and ambulance station never blocked the way they come out the 24 need damage, because I want to sell the alcohol, get the more business. Now there's lots of competition, the Sydney's, then I need to get the more business because I need to pay my electric, gas, rents. Now is everything higher? If I open the yes, then I can do only food, but is get the alcohol, get the more money, that there's more backup for me as well, which has the operation. I don't want to travel around here because I'm not doing the same first time that job, same job I've working already. I'm the manager, the same position, sell the alcohol and food in Sydney town. I know the few place as well, same position. I never see and the blockways I see the lots of people sometimes. Some, I don't want to say that word, but some people indicate there still is in block everywhere. Doesn't matter what kind of, because I have the same business down there. We tell them always, don't block the way. And then when you see that's blocking, they say, 5 minute notice, you can't stop here. But I never, main thing is you ask me why I'm selling alcohol, I need the more money, because pay when you open now is my planning 2 people, but if you see my business up, I get the 3-4 people, I need to back up to my electric, gas, rent, everything I need to pay.
Okay, so you're referring to different, more challenging economic circumstances.
Yeah.
Just a fair answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions from interested parties to the applicants? Lady on the right again.
The agent mentioned a couple of times now about the fact that you've got additional parking. Whereabouts on the premises is that additional parking?
Actually, the outside seating area, it covers both parking area and seating area.
So there is no additional parking. The 2 parking spaces that exist at the moment you intend to use as the outdoor seating area.
Yes, I thought there were additional parking area, but actually no, it's just outside seating area. If it's gonna be used as seating area, then there is no space for car parking. So this is my client's decision, what he needs to do here. He can remove outside seating area and make it as a car space, or he can just continue what he wants to do with this seating area.
The two parking spaces that exist at present there's enough for 2 cars there, granted, but there's a huge industrial wheelie bin there typically, because I assume that there is no space around the back of the premises to store sufficient wheelie bins. So actually, although in terms of space there is enough room for 2 cars, but one of them is used for a bin. So actually, even without having any seating out the front, there's only enough room for 1 car. Where are staff going to be parking as well? Because where are you going to be storing the bin that's there currently? Because at the moment, that's taking up a parking space. Where are staff going to be parking?
You have to please bear in mind that this is, we have to, as I articulated earlier, there are limits to what the licensing authority needs to concern itself with. It needs to concern itself with public safety, which potentially parking could be a public safety issue, but really we don't need to concern us necessarily with where members of staff are parking, and obviously we hope that they can park safely and without inconveniencing anybody else, but that's the limit to what this particular committee has to have its purview. Do we have any other questions from interested parties? Okay, in which case we will move on. So now is the opportunity for interested parties to address the subcommittee for not more than 4 minutes each. Can I remind you that representatives must be relevant to the 4 licensing objectives I've just mentioned earlier. So can I invite Councillor Ferguson first to make a submission? Thank you.
So thank you, Chair. As I mentioned previously, I'm talking on behalf of Mr. Stephen George from Huntingdon Street. Obviously, Mr. George is not here. I think he would appreciate some of the concessions made, but seeing as those are only proposed concessions at this time, and I have no way of communicating with Mr. George, I'm going to read his submission in full, if you don't mind. So Mr. George objects to this application on the grounds of public nuisance. He wanted me to make it very clear that he has no objection to the new food outlet. Indeed, he supports the proprietor in his aspirations to revive the unit and to contribute positively to the economy of the town. Mr. George's property is directly opposite the business, approximately 25 feet across the road. He has expressed very strong concerns that if this application were granted, then he would have to endure an array of negative issues. He has significant concerns about the intended trading hours, which he thinks will contribute significantly to levels of public nuisance as a consequence of the shop being allowed to stay open until 2 a.m. and being allowed to sell alcohol late into the night. Mr. George tells me that this part of Huntington Street is a residential area and not part of the town centre, but the clear intention of the business is to attract revellers from the town centre and thereby possibly increase nuisance. In his view, this will inevitably bring unwanted noise to a residential area after midnight, which is totally unacceptable. He is also concerned that it would lead to an increase of crime nearby or en route to properties or maybe vehicles, and generally increase the possibility of public order offences. If by visiting the food outlet late at night, customers are able to buy more alcohol, he is extremely worried that the noise and nuisance levels would inevitably increase. He is also concerned about an increase in litter and discarded unwanted food in the area, and the serious issue of increased risk of broken glass from discarded bottles served from the establishment. A particular concern is the provision of outdoor seating, which would allow groups of people to purchase alcohol and food while the shop is open, and then sit and consume them after closing hours, causing immense public nuisance, noise and public disorder for a further hour or so after closing time. There are many properties within a few feet of the business, and if their windows were open to aid sleep, then the noise would be unbearable and unacceptable in the view of Mr. George. He also works early on Saturday mornings, and so a good night's sleep is vital to him. So in conclusion, Mr. George is of the view that no outside seating should be allowed, as this would help disperse customers away from the business late at night. He also asks the licensing committee to consider limiting late night trading till 10 p.m. in the evening, so that incidents of public nuisance can be reduced or eliminated altogether. He notes that the previous chip shop that occupied the unit never stayed open beyond 9 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Are there other interested parties that would like to make a submission statement to the meeting? Lady in the right, thank you.
I don't think that there's any need to be selling alcohol. The Codfather was a thriving business and they never sold alcohol. In fact, the only reason why that business closed was because of a desire to retire. They sold the business and the following owners didn't manage to make a success of it. So it thrived for 15, 16 years without selling any alcohol. There is a need, don't get me wrong, I'd be very excited to have a chicken shop on my doorstep. If I don't have to turn on my oven twice a week, fantastic. I just don't think there's any need for you to be serving alcohol.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go just before we'll take all submissions of interested parties, and then you can ask questions to them once you've heard them all. So, any other interested parties like to make a submission? Gentleman in the centre there. Thank you.
Again, it's reiterating what's been said generally, but and I appreciate the efforts to start a business, and I agree with what you've just said there. The alcohol was the worry. We've talked through that. Maybe that's going to be a declining feature of this application. But with all due diligence of the management to make sure that the impact on the residents is minimised, you just can't predict behaviour from some people. I remember when the Chinese restaurant that used to be a pub. Do you remember the one I mean? Sorry, on that road. I used to live further down Huntington Street, so we'd often wake up to all kinds of presents on our front doorstep. From people's bodies or elsewhere, glass, etc. And that I'm sure that pub was diligent in trying to manage the consumption of alcohol on the premises, but you just can't predict. So it does. That is the worry, that it brings people to our part of the town that could cause problems and therefore disorder potentially, which is unlawful, and the public nuisance. And generally, seeing the nighttime economy as it is in St Neots, I'm relieved that it would potentially close at 10 because just because takeaway food is purchased late at night, it's not normally taken home by a lot of people. It's eaten on the street, the wrappers are discarded, the food is discarded, and it worries me that the alcohol would be consumed in the same way, walking down the street, sitting on walls and so on, and that's the worry for me. But I appreciate that it could be another premises open that we can buy food, which would be lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for that. The other gentleman like to make a submission at this stage? Nope. You're okay. Okay, questions from members of the subcommittee to any of the interested parties, please? Okay, members from officers to the interested party, any questions? Nope. Does the applicant have any questions? I think you have to the interested parties, or what? Say which one and what the question is, please. Thank you.
I would like to ask if their main concern is the hours, late night refreshment, or the alcohol. Because in the beginning, I thought it's the opening hours and we reduced them. And with alcohol now, I'm surprised because normally businesses can be open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. If there is no alcohol, he will have a right to be open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And we reduce the hours. And I don't understand what is the actual reason with the alcohol. In what is their main concerns? Is there any street drinking problem or any other problem I'm not aware of?
So I think obviously in the original submission, we had very significant concerns which have been articulated by the interested parties here, and we've heard those, and you have suggested that you would, make reductions to your application to address those. That's welcome. There will obviously are still going to be residual concerns because we can never predict that there will not be incidents of alcohol-related incidents in these kind of areas. So, I think we've heard those. If interested parties got any further points they'd like to make, gentlemen in the centre, thank you.
So it's just an observation. I'm not an expert. There are people here who know this better than me, I think. But I think it's to the off licence down the road. You're absolutely right. I could buy food from you and then I could buy alcohol down the shop. I do get that. But generally, it feels that you go to an off licence to buy something to take home. Food can be consumed around the premises, which, okay, that can happen anywhere, fish and chip shop anywhere. It's that element of having alcohol with it that is just worrying. I think it's greatly reduced by stopping at 10, so we don't have the worry of early hours disorder. And it's greatly reduced for me, but it's still there a little.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson.
So speaking on behalf of Mr. George, I think Mr. George has any problem with the sale of alcohol. He was mainly concerned about the trading hours and specifically trading after 10 p.m. And I think if you accept the concession of the applicant, that will be dealt with from Mr. George's point of view. He also has a further concern that outside seating must be portable and put inside the premises after a certain time to discourage a meeting place for groups of use, etc., and to avoid unnecessary noise and unsocial behaviour. So he doesn't have any concerns about the sale of alcohol. It's about trading times and the outside seating.
Thank you. And just, I'd like so we don't miss an opportunity to hear from the East of England Ambulance Service. Obviously, you are next door. We would be distraught if anything was to happen that would actually impact on the ambulance service ability to deliver their services. So if you've got any other concerns beyond what you've heard, just please say. Thank you.
Presumably you've read my statement that was initially submitted. I don't think there's really anything else to add to that. I think from our perspective, the reduced hours would be greatly appreciated. And just to reiterate, we've got no issue with the sale of food. It is purely down to the alcohol and the potential for antisocial behaviour around the station afterwards.
Thank you. Have we any further questions for the interested parties?
So with the car parking as well, I have a question and outside seating area. So if they are not happy with outside seating area, which I saw the premises, the outside area belongs to the premises, but still my client wants to serve to the community and he doesn't want to have a conflict with the local people. So if they are happy, we can remove outside seating area. So it's just inside waiting areas. We can keep it as car parking only. So if this makes everyone happier, then we would like to change this one as well.
Thank you. That was more of a statement. Any other questions at all? You done? Okay, thank you. Okay. I think unless anybody of the interested parties got any questions for each other at all, that's always a possibility, I suppose. But if not, we will move on. We have a lot of written representations for those who are not able to attend today. which was set out in the agenda pack. Does anybody have any comments about the written representations received?
Yeah, Chairman, if I may, my colleague who was acting as responsible authority officer for the licensing is not able to be here today, but you can see from the pack that she has already discussed with the applicant some suggested conditions, just to want to make sure that you're all aware of those.
Thank you, yes, and we would look to add those as well. Thank you. So, may I invite the applicant just briefly to sum up your application, the reasons for it, and how you wish it to go forward. Thank you.
Okay, so we changed the hours, opening time 11:30, closing time 10 p.m. and on Sunday 9 p.m. Alcohol sales starting from 12 midday and 9 p.m. till 9 p.m. and off sales only. We decided to change outside seating area as car parking space only, and it's off license with food consumption only. And with all the conditions and in the application form what we wrote, how he is going to promote licensing objectives, I don't think this business will impact badly the community. So there is nothing to say more.
Thank you very much. Okay. So that concludes the discussions. So before we move on to item 6, which is the exclusion of the press and public, the subcommittee will now retire to deliberate. The council's legal advisor will provide legal advice and record the subcommittee's decision. We're unclear how long deliberations will take. Our decision will be sent out to you in writing as soon as possible. If you do want to wait around for the decision, you're welcome to do so. The choice is yours. All parties do have the right to appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of the decision. Elizabeth, is there anything you need to add here?
No, thank you.
Thank you. That leads me to thank you all for your attendance today, which is much appreciated. And we will now move on to item 6, which is the exclusion of the press and the public. Are you members happy to exclude the press and public? Yeah. Thank you. If we can stop the live stream, please.